All right, welcome to today's VETSELITE daily vlog. Today I'm going to be just kind of talking about how the daily performance is a representation of what you are as a whole, not what you are in that moment. And the reason I kind of bring it up is I had two situations today. So I had my one football athlete doing max velocity sprints today, and we're going through and we get to, he's looking good, warming up in prime, and then we get to our actual max velocity section. We ran a time that was a couple of hundred slower than the previous weekend. Usually week 1 to week 2 we see at least around the same range, if not a build up, like an improvement. And then we, get to talking and kind of find out, we talk about, all right, what are the factors like sleep, nutrition, weight, lifestyle. And, as we get talking, athletes tell me, yeah, like I really pushed what I ate this weekend, not in a bad way, but I pushed away, and, my weight fluctuated up a lot. I'm up about 8 to 10 pounds. So now when we're talking about speed, especially when, you want to go into relative strength and how important it is, and how much weight you're moving to support gravity, you look at that, and adding 10 pounds can be detrimental to what you're trying to do in a sprint. So, what happens is, when you're timing and you're looking at these, trying to get improvements and, working on technical aspects of a sprint, and you go ahead and you look, and in that day I see, oh man, I had my athlete didn't get better. Like they got worse. What am I doing wrong? What do we need to change? It's important not to bail on the plan or the program that you had because you got to consider all these other factors. So I'm looking at it, it might not be, and that's the thing about coaching, it's so complex. Like there's so many different issues that and factors that go into performance on a day, like in that moment. That's not, the representation of that moment is what you've been doing, how you've been living your life, not just for the previous day, but weeks, months before that, even years, you know what I mean? So it was an issue where, before is a little bit of a newer coach, I feel like I would have kind of been like, damn, what am I doing wrong? We need to overanalyze this. We need to figure it out. Well, it's all right. Understand that performance fluctuates up and down. You know what I mean? And especially knowing for at least the sprint example, then, him getting a weight increase, well, that's not conducive to running at faster velocities, you know what I mean? So that's one example of what I'm talking about. And the other example is, I have another athlete, a lifter, and we're going through a workout, and, this guy has a high CNS capability in the sense that, he can handle a lot of high intensity lifts, you know what I mean? Talking about weight and percentage, not high intensity that we're doing drop sets and 3 sets of 10 and tempos, in the sense of we're pushing weight near max or at a certain percentage, at least above 80%. We can handle doing good volume at that. So we're working up on a new movement, a safety bar box squat. Speed work with a lot of tension, more than we've been used to. We work up and, we're all kind of feeling good, trying to hammer down the technique. And then we go to push on, a heavy top single. And push on the heavy top single doesn't go well. And we get a stall out when at a weight that, we feel like on any given day that could happen, right? That we could get that. And so then we go into our deadlift. Our prescribed deadlift prescription was 85%. 5 doubles, you know what I mean? Just because we pushed a little bit on that speed top single, we wanted to, keep the deadlift percentage below 90%. So we're working there, and the technique's not. The technique was there at first, but on top of that, other factors like the grip was messed up with the bar. We're in a new, totally new environment, and come to find that this athlete isn't allowed to eat for 24 hours due to some sort of medical procedure that has to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where one of the prescriptions for the test is that, you can't eat any solid food, or so, we're dehydrated and we're defueled going into this workout. This workout was earlier in the morning than what we've been used to training, so the train time of day was off. Sleep was off because had trouble falling asleep for whatever reason, and knowing we had to wake up early, and on top of that, just because of this issue that's been going on, down 10 pounds. So, all these factors, play into, us looking at the situation and saying, all right, like, what's wrong with your deadlift? Like, what's wrong with your squat? Like, are you getting weaker? Like, what's happening? Well, when we look at all the factors for optimal performance, this athlete really wasn't. Like, it's not that, this athlete doesn't have the capability, doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the technical ability to do it. You know what I mean? We're still obviously trying to strive for perfection on those things and really get the technique hammered down. But at the end of the day, these other factors play such a role. Like, nutrition plays such a role. Sleep plays such a role. Time of day plays such a role. All these factors, it's like in that moment, right? In that moment, you're a representation of what you have been doing. Your performance represents your lifestyle habits. So to go ahead and abandon a whole plan and kind of like give in to that doubt and it's not in the sense of being like, oh no, like I'm totally right and we need to just keep doing what I'm doing because I'm right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, I always look at things critically, and I'm always going to assess, okay, what happened, and, is this a liable reason to say that, this athlete is getting weaker and this program's not working, overtraining, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always going to look at that. But there's a line between looking at that, sticking, and then sticking to what is working, and having the sense and the rationale to look at all these other factors and know how important they are, and understand that, performance fluctuates up and down. Some days aren't the day. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important. And especially more for like coaches to, refrain from getting away from their plans and abandoning it and changing everything and overthinking, and, because it's important to have progressions, and it's important to have regressions and have a periodized plan. I'm not saying use linear periodization, but I'm saying have a plan, you know what I mean? And stick to that plan. And when you vary off it, it's varying off it in small, minute ways. You're not changing the entire system. You're not changing the entire scheme, the entire model. You have your model, a flexible model that allows you to change variably depending on situations that come up. So I think that's really important, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully, if any of you are struggling this, then maybe that helped, and maybe if you want to strike up a conversation, definitely, get in touch with me somehow. We can talk and, get better as coaches. All right, have a good night.